expected in Toronto in Game 1. No, they didn't play LeBron, but they did play the hottest team in the East coming into the playoffs. 11-2 in their final 13. Who weren't paying attention, they are now. Welcome inside our studios here in Atlanta. We will have all the presser coverage, comments. We'll hear from the particulars. We'll have analysis and highlights. Stern, B. Wood, Smitty. We look at kind of where we were at the finish and how it went down. It was a great end to this game. And back and forth we went. Beginning with Jonathan Isaac on the swing from the corner. It's good. How about Evan Fournier off glass? Danny Green couldn't do anything. Lead 3. Kawhi, step back. Coles ties the game up. Over a minute to go. Kawhi again over Gordon. Also goes down. Down 2. Inside.
Go DJ.
And then outside. Gasol goes out. Ibaka on the bench. Meanwhile, the Magic bench get ready for ho-hum yet another win. The finish, not enough on this night for Kawhi and the Raptors. 104-101 the final. So let's start with, there's so much to discuss, but since we showed those plays, let's get into it because it is something we talked about in pregame, and I love when these things come full circle. I asked you about the Gasol handling, the role, and the way that he and Ibaka were being used, and it's not necessarily what you would love coming into a playoff series. In the fourth quarter, Ibaka, they're playing well defensively. Why was he taken out of the game? Because, you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure on that screen, that's him closing out instead of Gasol on Augustine.
Well, when you look at it, Gasol was having a better offensive game. Serge wasn't having his greatest offensive game. When you look at the numbers, Serge was 2 for 6 from the field, only 5 points. But at the end of the game, you need Serge out there because Serge is so much better at closing out to people on the three-point line, and he's better in the screen and roll. And if you go play back the sound from DJ Augustine, he says, I knew when I came off the screen that Gasol couldn't stay in front of me, and when he backed up, he shot the shot. If that's Serge Ibaka, that is a way better defender out there. I'm not saying that DJ Augustine wouldn't have hit that shot, but I think Serge would have given the Toronto Raptors a better defensive presence in that standpoint of the game. I think he probably should have been out there. And, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We're questioning some coaching. I know last year a lot of people questioned Dwayne Casey. I thought a lot of that was unfair. But now we're going to have to have some of these same questions for Toronto today.
Yeah, and I thought even rewind a play before that, DJ Augustine laid the basketball up. And I'm not saying Serge would have blocked it, but it's a different mindset when a shot blocker is coming over. There's a hesitation. That's me trying to throw my body into a shot blocker. He knew use his speed, get to the rim before Siakam or Kawhi Leonard can rotate over. And then on that last play, Brendan summed it up best. He understood he could get space to get the shot off. Against Serge, he might have tried to drive the basketball, but then you come down to the same storyline of the Toronto Raptors with Dwayne Casey or with Nick Nurse. Kyle Lowry, where is he in the playoffs? Ooh. He struggled again mightily when you're talking about 0 points.
These aren't just circles. You don't have to even look because I don't want to make it look worse for the Raptors fans. I circled 2 zeros and then just wrote 0 because he had 0 points. I mean, we're talking about a guy who is supposed to be the second best player on the team. He was one of the 2 stars on the team before. He knows, Smitty, the questions are there. How do you sit there and go 0 for 7 from the floor and have 0 points?
It's for me, it's mental because watching these highlights, he's getting shots that he normally makes. He's playing hard. That's the one thing I love about Kyle Lowry. He's still coming out and playing hard. But if it starts to play off, it becomes totally mental with him. He's not trusting all the work he's put in. He's not trusting his shot. And it comes down to, as you can see, even that last play, I know he wasn't shooting well. It would be hard for me, even if I would do it to be a decoy, and I'm that guy that usually makes big shots, to come out to be a decoy. I would love to be a decoy amongst the play, but not a guy taking the basketball out for the last 3-point shot.
Yeah, it's just a tough situation. Kyle's had a lot of these moments in the playoffs. As we can see, Game 1, DJ Augustine dominated the point guard matchup today. And if you're Kyle Lowry, this is the guy that's been an All-Star numerous times. On the big stage, you have to step up. And I'm a Kyle Lowry fan. I always love his game, but too many times we've seen this in the playoffs. We've seen these head-scratching performances where we can't put our finger on it. We don't know why, but he just hasn't played well. And it's sad to say, but Van Fleet was their best point guard on the court today, and that can't happen. I'm not sure. Like, listen, it's one game. Toronto probably gets back in this series. They have a strong chance to possibly win it because they're that talented. But when you look at big picture, This can't keep happening to one of your best players on your team if you think you're really going to make some noise and are serious about contending for an NBA title.
Have you ever experienced, either of you, because I'm trying to think as you're talking to, in any sport, we've seen big-time players have issues, right? I remember Barry Bonds, they were saying, okay, he couldn't do it until the one big series against the Angels. We had it with LeBron. They talked about the beginning after that Dallas series. But never did they have 0 points. We're talking about guys who got chastised, Smitty, because they were supposed to make the big shot, get the big hit, and they would throw an interception as a quarterback. It's not that they would have no yards. I don't ever remember, you tell me, anybody, when you look at now, we're talking about this is the 3rd or 4th year in a row, has performances where it's literally not the same player.
Yeah, and I just come out for him is he doesn't play with a smile. That's the one thing. He doesn't like he's having fun in playoffs. That's the one thing I look at Kyle Lowry.
Hey, Smitty, it's hard to smile when you got 0.
Yeah, but you still got to come out there.
You know when it's easy to smile? When you're Steve Clifford.
Aside from the game-winning shot, did DJ give you, and what were you pleased with overall with your team's play?
Well, first of all, overall, just the fight, the way we hung in there, I thought our defense was very good, you know, for most of the game, and you know, even when things went against us, we hung in the game, we kept fighting. That was the good part. DJ obviously was, I mean, terrific. He got off to a good start, and he had this stretch from about, I would say, the maybe 5 or 5.5 minute mark to about the 2.5 minute mark in the second quarter, you know, where we built a cushion, and then I think they scored the last 8 of the first half, but that cushion was also mostly him. And then, you know, we made big plays, though. The Evans steal to get it from 1 to 3, the J.I. corner 3, the A.G. corner 3. Vooch had a big 3. I think we were down 3. I think it tied it. So we made a bunch of big plays, you know, in the last 3-4 minutes.
John did OrlandoMagic.com. Cliff, the fact that they had to switch Kawhi on to DJ, they switched Danny Green onto him, does that say how much he had it rolling?
I mean, he's such a good pick and roll player, you know, and he's, you know, if you look at it, his last 10, 12 games, you know, he's been on a roll. So it's, no, happy for him, but huge shot, obviously, and an understatement.
Steve, how were the Raptors as effective defensively on both Vooch and Ross?
Well, I think on our team, you know, and this is something that we're going to have to, you know, try to fix before the next game is, as they picked up their ball pressure and their passing lane pressure in the second half, you know, they had stretches where they had us so pushed out, and it was really a struggle in the third quarter to run offense, and you know that we have to do better with.
Coach Jared Greenberg, Turner Sports. Was there a moment or a couple of moments in the game when you looked at your team, especially some of the younger guys, and recognized that this stage is not too big for them, or they recognize what the moment is?
Yeah, I think even, to be honest, in these last 3-4 weeks, the way guys have played and you know, like the way we played tonight, to be honest, we played well, but we've played a lot of games like that lately at Indiana. You know, we played a game here about 4.5 weeks ago that was similar to that. We've hung in games, and again, we have length and we have versatility, so there's a lot of, you know, defensive possessions we don't have to be perfect with, and we stay out of rotations, and it helps a lot.
Coach, you guys had the big lead right at the end of the first half. You gave up the 8-0 run, and they take the lead early in the second half. How proud of you that your team took just about every punch thrown at them and got back up?
No question. And the other part is, it's easy to get frustrated. Their defense was so good in the third quarter that, you know, we weren't getting quality shots. It wasn't a game where we got shots and they weren't going in. And I think sometimes when you're, you know, not doing a good job combating what they're doing, it's easy to give in, and we didn't.
Coach Doug Smith, the Toronto Star. How do you get the game to your kind of pace? Like, what goes into the game being a relatively slow pace that's effective for you guys?
Yeah, well, obviously, you know, scoring more, you know, would help, although they push the ball hard after makes a lot of times too, but scoring more, keeping the turnovers down, I think, against them is critical. You know, they're first in the NBA in points per possession off steals. they're also good off defensive rebounds too. But I mean, when they steal the ball, it's over. You know, they're like over 1.25 points per possession, which is astronomical, you know. So I think those are the key things. And then the other thing, and we didn't do it well tonight, is when they get on runs, to me, that's where you have to have the ability to post the ball. And we got to do better with our post-up offense, too.
Coach Dante Marcatelli, Fox Sports Florida. You've encouraged Jonathan Isaac to shoot that open shot all year. He's done it. Steps right into one, knocks down a big three. Just touch on that shot and his confidence, how much it's grown.
He's just battling. I mean, his defense was terrific. But again, if you want to go back to it, he's made big shot after big shot in this stretch. And I think all the hard work he's done, you know, with Bruce and with Pat, his shot making has improved. And, you know, he's confident. But again, you know, the correlation is he's in there every day. You know, he's in a routine. He doesn't take days off. And, you know, he and we are reaping rewards for all his hard work.
Cliff, you said, you know, coming into this, you've been in must-win mode for like 3 weeks now. How much do you think that you were sharp? You had been in this game a lot.
No, I think it helps. I mean, we've been playing games that we had to win and were meaningful games here for a while. So I think it definitely, especially with a short turnaround. I mean, we both played, I think, Wednesday night, and you know, we didn't have a lot of time to, you know, prep the way you'd want to.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. Coach, what's it do? Speak to what it does for the confidence of this team to come into this atmosphere and beat one of the best teams in the league in game one of the playoffs.
Oh, no question. That's what, you know, the message that I gave them in there. We played well. The next game will be more difficult, but we have to have a belief, or we should have a belief, that we're good enough to compete in this building. Good. Thank you.
First of all, and we said this about the first game, and you know, Kenny Atkinson there now 3 years doing it. Steve Clifford, who's always been a good coach in this league, and good to see him here and healthy and coaching, has done a fantastic job with this team. But to the point which I think is important to note, because people will see this score and they'll say, oh, everything must have gone right. Augustine was great, but he said we played a lot better than this. Terrence Ross was 2 of 11. Vucevic was 3 of 14. And those are two of the. Terrence Ross has been huge for them. Vooch as well. Fournier took 18 shots, but
Aaron Gordon was 3
for 10. They didn't play a great game and still beat Toronto, Smitty.
I love the way Jonathan Isaac played on both ends.
Yeah.
They just gutted out a grind out playoff type game where you won't shoot well at all the time. You got a big time individual play from the DJ Augustine. Take your hat off to him. But I thought DJ Augustine, Michael Carter Williams, the points and the way he played phenomenal. You know, we got a chance to see the second half. But if you're Steve Clifford, Vucevic didn't have one of his games
at all,
or Terrence Ross, you're happy that the other guys stepped up, and chances are that those guys will play better in the second game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Steve Clifford, you definitely have to feel great about the fact some of your better players didn't play great. You were still able to get this win. I mean, Orlando shot, 40% from the floor? I mean, so they understand that DJ Augustine had a great first half, not as strong in the second half, but it was a total team effort. Down the stretch of that game, you saw so many different guys scoring the basketball, whether it's Augustine, Fournier, Jonathan Isaac. It was whoever, so they got things done from a lot of different ways in this ball game. And when you look at it at the end of the day, Orlando was able to steal this game. And if you're Steve Clifford, now you can really apply the squeeze. Like, listen, this team has been known.
Oh, yes.
There's an uneasiness in that other locker room. We can really play on this by coming out with the right type of mindset in the next game. In game 2, if you come out there and meet their energy, you can really, really put them in a bad way.
This is where Kawhi and Danny Green will be huge. Because they haven't been through that. They've experienced that, hey, it's just game 1. Here's Nick Nurse.
Did they do something to take you out of the stuff you do well?
Well, I thought we only had one stretch, Doug. I mean, obviously to start the second half and the first and start the second, we had a really good stretch of defensive play. I don't know. I think in the first half and even some parts of the second half, we were a little quick at times, I thought. But I also thought we got a lot of really good open looks, too, that we didn't make or went in and out or whatever. So there wasn't huge concerns that we weren't, we weren't as good as maybe just our shooting, making a few of those.
Hi, Nick. Louis Zatzman, Raptors Republic. How do you make sure shooting struggles don't seep into other areas of play going forward?
Yeah, good question, right? It's a time where, some of those things will come and go a little bit, but you got to keep the things constant. You can keep constant, right? And I thought maybe we had a little bit of a disjointed defensive segment there in the midway through the second quarter because we were maybe a little bit living in our offense a little bit. Just got to address it, show them, talk to it about it, hit it head on a little bit, and understand that defense and rebounding's got to be there no matter what our offense or what our shooting is doing.
Nick, what happened on that last possession? Oh, Kevin Arnovitz, yes.
Hi, Kevin.
What happened on the last possession where DJ Augustin got that three? There seemed to be miscommunication on the coverage call between Mark and Kawhi.
Yeah.
Nobody was up. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, we were in our coverage, and our coverage was to get over the top of the screen and have Mark be up and help on that, and then stay home. But I just saw the highlight quick coming through on TV. I haven't watched the game film, but it looked like Kawhi thought it was a switch and went under to hold up Vucevic, and Mark was still in the up position, but not the switch position, so it gave him the room to get it off. Yeah.
At the back there, please.
Kyle Lowry get a 0 point tonight. Was he have an off night, or is the opponent that did something special?
No, I don't think they did anything special. I think he had some really good looks, that he's going to normally knock down. We need to get him involved a little bit offensively, and we need some points from him. But I thought he was impacting the game. I took him out midway through the fourth, and for his kind of normal last rest before he goes in, and it was a decision. Was I going to? I looked down and I see he was. He was a plus 12 in the plus minus, and he had 0 points, so he was still impacting the game greatly, right? So I thought he was a positive factor in the game, which is why we went with him, and I'm sure he'll bounce back and play a little bit better next game.
Mike.
Hey, Nick. Mike Range from Sportsnet. All season with Kawhi, it's been in given games, he's had his minutes run way up. It's more been game to game. The management, 33 minutes tonight, was there a reason for that, or could he have gone more?
No reason for it, and yes, he could have went a little bit longer. I think just the stretches were okay there. I think with him out, and I liked what was happening, so got him in. We put him up there a little bit earlier in the fourth, but the clock didn't stop until a timeout. So that was another factor a little bit that had him a little low. But yeah, I looked at it too, and I thought we should have him out there a little bit more. But I think once I go back through it, it's not going to be. It wasn't by design to play him under 35 minutes or any of that kind of stuff.
Last call. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
It was just a few years ago, DJ Augustin played 10 games with the Raptors, was cut, just wasn't a fit. Well, he fit in the building tonight.
You've been craving Wingstop's flavor for way too long now. It's so good to be back. Back where lemon and pepper get a buttery back. Where freshly made just for you chicken learns to fly. Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
Hi. This is amazing. With moderate to severe ulcerative colitis.
Are you okay?
Even when I was there, I never knew when my symptoms would keep us apart. So I talked to my doctor about Humira. I learned Humira can help get and keep UC under control when other medications haven't worked well enough. And it helps people achieve control that lasts, so you could experience few or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, control is possible.
TGI Friday's one and only sizzling chicken, shrimp, and cheese.
all new whiskey Flatiron Steak, and the tastiest sizzling street noodles. New sizzling entrees starting at $10. TGI Fridays, the home of endless apps, every night.
Frank Thomas, a.k.a. the Big Hurt, used to keep pretty busy on the baseball field. But now, he's busier than ever.
After I turned 40, it wasn't easy to keep up. Everything changed. My energy, my drive. Then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful man-boosting formula ever because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text SCORE to 231231.
Nugenix helped me feel better. I feel stronger. I have more energy.
I have the energy and the stamina and the strength. It makes me feel awesome.
From the brand that brought you GNC's #1 vitality product, new Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy, performance, testosterone, and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results.
With Nugenix Total T, 40 was just another number.
Text SCORE to 231231. Now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. That's SCORE to 231231.
We get a look at Game 1 up in T.O. Kawhi against Vooch and the Magic. 11-2, final 13 games. Heading in to the playoffs, DJ Augustine, a chance to prove he belonged as a starting point guard in the postseason. And I would say, Smitty, with 19 in the first half, it was off to a good start.
Yeah, in that second quarter, boy, did the Magic take it to the Raptors. And DJ Augustine, as we see these highlights, a lot of them are in that second quarter. They outscored them 32-19.
Goodness, he got the cookbook all the way open with the Kiss the Cook apron on. Look at him.
Brendan, you cook at all?
No, I don't cook. I don't cook like how DJ was cooking.
Raptors on a big run themselves. Smitty, you talk about the second. It wasn't the same as the third. Raps here in the midst of a 22-2 run, heading back the other way, and eventually giving them the advantage. Gasol from deep, and then Siakam, who Brendan was big all game long, led all players at 42 minutes, put 24 on the board.
That was an excellent play right there. Got out in transition. Siakam had a huge impact, and things were looking good for Toronto at that point in the game.
MCW big in this game. Not going to be happy about this.
How is this not called a foul? Somebody gets basically slapped in the face and nose bloodied, and there's no foul call. 3 officials all missed this. I'm glad the coaching staff got to him before
he's upset.
And deservedly so. That is a clear foul. He might have possibly a broken nose, and there was no foul call. Look at this.
If I was Petty, I would say it was the only shot that Kyle made during the game, but that would not be what I would say. He would be okay about it. MCW. Did not return, but hopefully he's okay. Game goes back and forth. That was a big shot.
That was huge.
Vooch
ties it at 92, and then Siakam right back at it. Defensively was huge in the fourth, and here, Brendan, offensively.
Get there first, you don't succeed. Siakam right there missing the layup, goes right back with a quick offensive tap. His improvement has been phenomenal.
This was a big shot for the Magic. And Jonathan Isaac, he knew that was going down. Boy, he knocked that one down.
Kawhi, he's closed offensively and defensively all season. It's been a difference maker, and this is what he does. Say whatever you want. I mean, this guy makes big shots. Done it now with 2 organizations, and that back-to-back on possessions was brilliant. This one over Aaron Gordon. All looked well. Lead was 2.
Look at that drive.
Back to work.
He didn't want to be denied. He kept turning that corner against Danny Green, a phenomenal defender. And this is Kawhi, pick and roll. They talked about it, Nick Nurse. Yes, there's a switch. You got to get up, though, Marcus. So you got to get up.
3-point lead after Augustine buries the triple. He had 25 points in the game, 9 of 13 from the field, was brilliant, but we're not done. Inbounds from Lowry to Kawhi.
A little windy in there.
Yeah, a little windy.
Not good enough. So the Raptors get LeBron out of the East, bring Kawhi in, change coaches, and it's not the second verse, many verses in, but same as the first and the last one, as they are down 1-0 in this series. Here's the Pistons. Hey, Nets and Magic, we like this whole road team wins game 1 thing you got going.
Okay.
They will get Giannis as part of a busy day coming up. Look, when you sit there and you look at where the Raptors are, and let's get back into the psyche point, because I want to go back to something that we touched on but we didn't get into. when you come from a winning pedigree, right? You guys played for teams that won. If you go to a team that has never been there before, there are things that you can give that they haven't had before. Raptors have lost in the past, but Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard don't come from that.
Right.
How much after a game like this do those two guys in that room become important because they have seen that, hey, look, it's just one game and you can come back and win a championship?
I think Danny Green in this instance becomes more impactful than even Kawhi because Danny's more of a talker. Kawhi Lee is a quiet leader. He leads by example. In this situation, this is when Danny can basically lean on the Spurs way, what he's learned from Greg Popovich, and say, listen, we're down, but we're not out. It's just game one. We're going to regroup. We're going to come right back, and we're going to be okay in this series. I've been there before. I have championship experience. I have rings, so I can tell you just because you get punched in the face doesn't mean you have to stay down on the mat. And I think some of those guys that were there last year for Toronto, they'll be more apt to listen to somebody like a Danny Green or even a Serge Ibaka. He has championship experience. He hasn't won an NBA title, but he did play in the NBA Finals, so he has playoff experience. So I think those guys can lean on guys like that have the experience and bounce back. I think this Toronto Raptors team does bounce back, but it is very interesting to see that, last year Dwayne Casey was unceremoniously ushered out of the door because they said that this team just didn't quite get over the hurdles in the playoffs, and here we are again asking ourselves the same question.
Yeah, and it's Danny Green, it's Kawhi Leonard. Hopefully he get a chance to express himself vocally to talk about what they need to do. And then I think also Marc Gasol being a veteran. He's a guy been through all the fires. And then it comes down to right now is somebody has to put their hand around Kyle Lowry and give him some confidence. And I think that's where the coaching staff, they've been through it with him. He has to come out of this. Nick Nurse is definitely right now. All the regular season was fantastic. It was fine. This is where you have to do your best stuff right now. You go down 0-2, still can win the series, but the psyche of this Toronto Raptors, of what they've done in the past, it will be tough. If they come down 0-2.
Your coach can be Nick Nurse. Your coach can be Dwayne Casey. Your coach can be Phil Jackson. If your star player doesn't play up to the level in the playoffs, you're going home. I don't care how many X's and O's you draw.
You're totally right.
I don't care if you have a magic clipboard. Listen, if one of your best players, if your all-star goes 0 for 7 in a playoff game and is outplayed by DJ Augustine to the tune of 25-0,
he was outplayed by Michael Carter-Williams.
Well, and also tell you this.
You're going home.
Like you said, but as a coach right now is, you better try to hug him and give confidence, and also you got to know when to pull the trigger because you do have a guy in Fred VanVleet that's capable and did play well this game. When do you make that call of snatching him out of the game?
How crazy is this that a year ago we sat there and watched DeMar DeRozan, which we thought never would happen, sit for a quarter, which became a big conversation.
I sure would love to have a conversation with Dwayne Casey right now.
I bet he's probably watching, friend of the program. Aaron Gordon did not have a great game, but pitched in, tried to play as good defense as he could on that last play against Kawhi Leonard. Here he is on his first postseason win here with the Magic.
We are a resilient group, and we knew that we have players, and we just kept fighting. And then down the stretch, we made a lot of big plays.
DJ's been a guy that's steady for you guys all season. For him to do what he did, hit the tire, and then win it, how big was that?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, he's been here before, so it's only right that he's leading us. And yeah, man, he's tough. It's tough.
Terrence, Vooch didn't have big offensive games, and yet you guys still pulled this one out. Should that give you guys additional confidence for Game 2, Game 3, Game 4?
I mean, I thought everybody contributed. It was definitely a team effort tonight, with DJ at the head of the spear. But, there's plenty of games left to play, and time for people to get into the rhythm. So we'll all settle in and, just keep playing the brand of basketball where everybody's getting involved and everybody is coming out and executing.
Will it take any time for you guys to get your feet settled in Game 1 of your first playoff series?
No, I mean, we feel like we deserve to be here, so that's how we're playing.
Cliff said if there was any doubt that you're good enough, this should clear it up. I mean, you guys know that you belong here, right? That you can win here, you can win the series.
Yeah, and that's how we feel. We feel like we can play with anybody. So we're not going to get too high on this win. There's still a long series to go. And, we're just going to take it one day at a time. We're going to go back, study, watch the film, and then come back on Tuesday.
Do you have to get greedy now? I mean, a lot of teams try to come and get a split. Do you have to try to get greedy and get them both?
Oh, of course. We're not satisfied. appreciate the effort by everybody, and it was a good game. But we have more in us. We got more in the tank, so we're not satisfied.
And what's the confidence in this room like when you've got a guy like and his sort of defensive pedigree going into the 3-2 game?
We got a ton of people in this locker room that are talented, and then Cliff, he's been there before. I mean, he's seen it all. Smart and knows how to put people in good situations. And got a lot of guys that are stepping up and making plays all year long.
Do you think this one kind of opened some eyes? I mean, you guys know you could do this, but it seemed like you weren't getting a lot of respect, or you weren't, a lot of people weren't saying that it was going to be a long series. Do you think this may open some eyes?
Not sure. Kind of irrelevant. We care about what's happening in this locker room, and we're going to regroup and come back on Tuesday and give another good effort.
What was your game plan against Kawhi? I mean, he started off really good. He was kind of running off of solid screens. What was your game plan against him?
Yeah, I was just I wasn't physical enough at the beginning of the game. I was getting hit on screens. I wasn't navigating them well enough. He still had a pretty good game. But I was just trying to be a little bit more physical and just make it difficult for him.
That last play. The last play. Talk about that.
The last play? On what? Which one? The one DJ? Oh, yeah. I mean, Kawhi on the block knew it was going to him. That's their guy. So it made it look like it was going to Danny. I said
Curry for three. Puts it in. Steph Curry again from downtown. And he's the NBA all-time leader in playoff threes.